all afternoon. And based on the reaction we're getting to the 1 hour gap here, I'm guessing we're just going to run through it and run these highs during PM today. 563 totally seems like it could be in the cards. It's a 100-point move. And then maybe, this is our dream scenario for a play, we take the high at 3 o'clock. We sweep out the previous hourly high, and then we get a retracement, target that previous hourly low, and that's our short setup for the afternoon. That's our play for the day, and we're good. That sounds like a pretty good idea. I don't think we're going to get a retrace to this 15-minute gap, just based on how bullish we've been and just this slow grind up. If we do, though, I mean, the way that we would confirm that is probably this 5-minute inverse. I think if we inverse this 5-minute gap, that'll probably be the confirmation we're going for this 15-minute gap down here. And then if we tag that 15-minute gap and we get a nice bullish V shape after sweeping out this low, then yeah, we could maybe even take a long too, back to target those highs. So, did you take that AM trade? Was working myself, so didn't catch it. I will go over that AM trade in a little bit here. Kind of want some more people to join. But yeah, I'll kind of explain my thoughts behind that and why I did not take that AM trade. It's probably a blunder on my part, but we do have this 1 minute short coming up. I think it's really good. We swept the high here. We are delivering out of the 1 hour. The only bad part about it is bias is just bullish right now. And we won't break that bias until we inverse this 5 minutes. You're just shorting against the bias here. Then obviously not a typical reversal time. Momentum here is okay. So this might work. It might not. I feel like we could definitely get a better setup today. I'm just not trying to fade the bias at all when taking these setups. So I guess we'll watch this, see if it works out. If not, so be it. We'll move on to the next play. And if it does work out, very cool, because I'm guessing some of you guys will take this. If you are taking this, I would probably set my break-even point not at this low here, but probably at this low inside the fair value gap. There's no real roadblock here to the left that should stop price from falling past this point. And so, in my opinion, I think that first roadblock is going to come after we take out this low inside the gap. And this is far enough away where it makes for a decent break even. If you want to try this on an eval, go for it. I think this is a decent eval trade because, we are going against the bias here, but overall, a retracement after a big move up isn't the worst idea for a potential target. So yeah, kind of up to you here. Just so you guys know, and not that you guys need to know this, but I'm just sharing something with you because why not? I have been diagnosed with ADHD now for 3 years. I went to a psychologist for it and tried to get it figured all out. And I stopped taking Adderall for a good minute because I honestly didn't really like the person I was on it at times. And I thought I could just cope with it and, be fine. And the other day I came to the realization that I was noticing a pattern of behavior that is super consistent with the symptoms of ADHD in terms of dopamine seeking activity. So I started taking it again today. And I completely forgot that you're not supposed to drink caffeine on Adderall or ADHD medication. And so my heart's just been beating really, really hard ever since lunch because I had a drink with caffeine during lunch. So that's great. Hopefully I don't have a heart attack or something. But yeah, no, because caffeine is a stimulant and Adderall is a stimulant. You're not supposed to mix the two, and I forgot about that because it's been a while since I've taken Adderall. So yeah. Yuki, do you have any bad side effects? Because I do. Every single time I take Adderall and drink caffeine, I get shaky and I just have a really elevated heart rate. How much of a change in behavior did you notice? I mean, it's been great. I think I've told you this. I don't know if you guys can see from my pictures on Twitter or whatever, but I'm a little bit of a bigger guy. And one of the ways that I used to cope with having that dopamine deficiency that comes with ADHD is I would kind of eat more, get that dopamine boost. And so the food cravings for that dopamine have definitely subsided. Pairing that with obviously the Adderall side effects itself of making you less hungry has definitely helped. Um, I've actually noticed an improvement in my trading. Um, I'm way better about, uh, making poor decisions as a result of like trying to chase winning trades or whatever and get that win, so I get that dopamine. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think that's about it. But yeah, for some of you, if you guys are like struggling with your trading, maybe one of the reasons why is because you're struggling with something mental health wise that you need to address. And once you address that issue, you'll become a much better trader. Maybe if you're somebody that struggles with ADHD like me, maybe figuring out how to fill that gap in the dopamine deficiency is going to prevent you from chasing wins, because wins bring you more dopamine than obviously losses do, right? So I know it's a lot to jump into right as we start PM stream here, especially for those of you that are new, by the way. Hello, everyone that just joined today. Welcome. This isn't normally normal, but I'm just trying to bring awareness to certain, mental health issues that traders face, and I want you guys to know that you're not alone in that, and that even like myself, I struggle with that. So that's about it. But yeah, for me, that break even point on the short here hasn't quite hit yet. So I'm just going to keep watching it, see if that break even point hits, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I also like the idea of like shorts right now because we've just generated so much liquidity below. And if this really starts moving, we'll really get going here. So, um, yeah, almost at that break even point now. Checking for SMTs here as well. Just want to make sure there's nothing in the way that's going to roadblock this trade from hitting our intended break even. Mid equal lows there. They're side by side, so they don't really matter, but another good sign for shorts here. Well, yeah, let me go back up here. How much of a change behavior? Yeah, we talked about that. I take Vyvanse to the Adderall much smoother. Vyvanse, honestly, I don't think did a whole lot for me when I was first trying it out. Maybe I could try it out again and see if that's better, but for sure. Um, Third month with Dodgy and first stream with Reliable. Well, welcome, Kier. Welcome, welcome. Find much better for learning and understanding. Smaller. Appreciate that, Harry. Um, I have ADHD as well. Brother took Adderall for 5 years, all through middle school and high school, but I feel my ADHD plays to my advantage most of the time. I know that's not the case for most. Yeah, definitely not for me, for sure. Um, Parents didn't believe me when I was a kid, struggled all through elementary and high school, used it a little in college, and then finally got prescribed when I was on my own. Yeah, for sure. That's kind of my case. Obviously, like, I didn't really know about it until 3 years ago. Um, I was kind of like definitely masking because, like, I would do well in school, but then there were behaviors that I would have that were just very indicative of ADHD, but they also could have been indicative of, like, just like your typical defiant, emotional teenager or whatever, right? And so it was hard for my parents to recognize that, like, I was maybe somebody with ADHD. And then obviously when I went on my own and tried to figure it out for myself, that's when I was able to um, get diagnosed and everything. Yeah, for sure, Kent. Yeah. 5 minute. Am I using Dodge indicator? Is that the red or green lines? The red or green lines are the equal highs and equal lows that form in the chart. So here we have a pair of equal highs here, and then the red lines down here are equal lows. But yeah, no, I'm not using the indicator right now. So yeah, right now this is just pretty poor price action. Even if I was in this trade, like, I wouldn't be feeling the greatest about it, just because it's kind of choppy and, like, we're not really, like, expanding. But hopefully that can change up here in a second. Maybe we start to get some movement. But the red and green line switched when you change time frame. What indicator is this? Yeah, this is the equal highs and lows by out of options. They change and they switch because some equal highs and lows aren't present on other time frames. So, like, here, the 1 and 2 minute both show these as equal lows, right? But at this internal low here, there's no equal lows on the 2 minute time frame. Does that make sense? If you want, I can send you over that indicator. Just give me a sec. That is the indicator, Tambi, right there. And then just make sure that when you set up the settings for it, you put the look back at like 5,000 candles. Right? And then you should be good to go. Am I in this 1 minute short? Yeah, I'm trying it on an eval, but I don't know. It's not really going anywhere, so I'm probably gonna either take the loss on this or just cut it, whatever. But this is not an alert, by the way, guys. I don't think you should take this personally. I'm just trying things because I don't know. I think that we could potentially reverse here. I mean, this is a good reaction to taking out this high. So I just don't think that the quality of this trade, given the price conditions, is high probability enough for you to take, like, on your own, or if you're, like, trying to take it on a funded or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if you want to try it on an eval, I already kind of said that that's fine. I just don't love being in funded trades in price conditions where the wicks are bigger than the bodies. I mean, that's gonna really wear on your mental capital, right? And you want to try and take trades that just get you on the highway, take you from your on ramp to your exit ramp, and that be the trade, right? You don't want to be in these trades where you're stuck in traffic or get hit with a construction zone or make you take a detour or get you on the side roads, right? You just want to be in trades that get you from point A to point B. And so I feel like this is more of like a trade that's going to take you through a couple different construction zones. Maybe you get hit with rush hour traffic. But wouldn't that 1 minute already be break even? By the model, yes. By when I think a good subjective break even is, not yet. Because we left these relative equal lows down here. We're kind of stacking up this liquidity. And this is the first place, this blue line, this internal low inside the gap, where price has a roadblock after the inverse. Do you see how here, when the 1 minute inverse, there's not really any roadblock here? So when we hit this internal low here, which is technically the mechanical break even, sure, that's only a few points after the entry, maybe 3. And then it's 99% of the time going to be a break even. But if you wait for that subjective break even to get hit, that area and price that's technically the first roadblock after this inverse, you have better odds of this not ending up being a break even trade and actually turning into a winner. So that's kind of the idea behind still waiting for that break even point. Um, this can also get you hurt in the long run, right? You know, if you don't wait for that mechanical, or if you don't take that mechanical break even, sometimes that results in more losses. And considering it's an eval, I don't really care about those losses. If this was a funded, of course, I'm going to care about that more. So all part in like our each, you know, individual trades and how we trade as individual traders. Um, that's going to change like what you decide to do with this trade, right? That's why I'm saying like this is not an alert, because like I'm trading relatively unconventionally compared to the model, and I'm just trying to see if I can catch that reversal. And I'm obviously not taking this with a whole lot of size. You know, I think if I lose on this play, it'll be like a $50 loss. So I'm just trying something. It's kind of like when Dodgy takes like a prop account trade instead of his live account. It's just, you know, something I'm trying to see if it'll work. But yeah, obviously not going to work. So is what it is. We move on to the next. So I do want to take a moment to kind of go over this morning's trades a little bit. So when this, you know, either gets stopped out or whatever happens with it, or if I hit the break even, I'll kind of take the opportunity to go over that. But yeah, I came to some realizations after the stream when I was journaling the trade myself and trying to figure out like what I could have done differently or what I could have done better. And I kind of want to share those things with you guys so that the next time something like this happens, you'll know for the future on what to do or what not to do, or kind of like the reason why, you know, I thought about the trade the way I did this morning. So yeah, let's just watch this trade, and if we get the close back above this, that would be like the manual stop out, right? So we got 30 more seconds. Let's keep an eye on like other time frames too. I guess we have the 2-minute here, right? We could watch that. I mean, that might not close over for another minute and a half here, but I'm guessing if this 1 minute gets closed over here, we'll probably see the highs get hit. So given, you know, the current price action, I'm totally fine with taking the 1 minute stop out. And if the 2 minute ends up working, I don't really care either. Maybe we'll see like another leg get put in for the manipulation here, and we'll see maybe that reversal at 2 o'clock, right, during that macro time. So still got to keep waiting. Looks like the 2 and 1 minute are going to align with that close. Now we got to inverse this 30-second here to the downside. This is pretty singular and obvious in order to see more downside. Obviously, you know, bias here was bullish, so that was the reason kind of for taking this on eval. You know, we're fading the bias by taking this trade. So lots of reasons to size down and maybe not take this one. But yeah. Welcome, Jeezy. Welcome. Thanks for joining, man. We're watching this 1 minute short to see if it wins or if it loses here or whatever. If we close back above the inverse here on the 1 minute and 2 minute time frame, that'll be the loss. But nope, not yet. We're still closing to the tick. So isn't that something? So yeah, based on how this trade's behaving, I'm guessing it's going to be a stop out anyway. So I have the hard stop set. If that gets hit, then that'll be that. Here's the next 15-minute gap being, or candle, I should say, being created here. I'm not sure if there's a gap. Doesn't look like it. So, okay, there we technically closed above the 1 minute. So that's the technical stop out. 2 minute hasn't closed below or above yet, but with the equal highs, I think it'll happen anyway. So there's the eval loss there. Lost about $60. And yeah, I guess we'll take another stab at an eval play or whatever if it presents itself. But kind of why I said this isn't really an alert. Just something I'm trying for fun, just to see if it'll work out. So let's go over this morning's trade a little bit here. Trade boy, normally that isn't really my concern because if that were to happen, I have a hard stop set. So like worst case scenario, the hard stop gets hit. And I'll set that usually at the in swing points. So in this case, like the hard stop I had set was like up here, right? And worst case scenario, something like that happens. I maybe lose instead of my intended 200, I'll lose like 300, right? Given that most of my trades end up being 1.5 to 2R winners, that's still like within my acceptable risk because I know that the next trade I take will probably completely cover that loss, even if it hits the hard stop, right? That's why when I go to take a trade, I'm not risking 250, which is my intended risk, 10% of the drawdown of the account. My intended risk is that amount, but I'm actually only risking 200, right? That's why when I go to my long position tool here and I go here, I have it set right now to 150 because I was trading 25K accounts, but most of the time it's set to 200. And so like that allows me to know how much I can normally risk or whatnot, right? So to be honest, I don't really care about it too much. I mean, when it happens, and then you just wait for that next setup to form, and usually that takes care of the loss. But yeah, obviously that sucks. I mean, when that does happen, it's probably because you were very wrong about something when you entered the trade. So you either entered the trade before news, or you entered the trade outside of the kill zone, or you entered the trade and you were trading against the bias. There's something that happened when you take a loss like that that caused that to happen. Because 99% of the time when you take a trade, that won't happen, right? So that's about, I guess, all I'll say for that. But yeah, I'm going to go over that 2/3/5 minute trade from this morning. And yeah, I'll kind of give you guys my thoughts on that. I outlined a little bit of my thoughts in Indices chat. So if you guys want to kind of follow along with the things I'm saying, I've kind of already explained a lot of it in Indices chat, and I talked with Jiu-Jitsu about it. But basically, what had happened is we came into open and we assumed that price was going to go down to run 50% and fill in what was it, like all this liquidity here, right? We left all these inefficiencies on the higher time frame here on the 1 hour, 30 minute, 50 minute, whatever, right? And so we expected there to be a bearish Judas swing this morning. And so yeah, I'm looking JIS. I'm looking for potentially a previous hourly high to previous hourly low play after we take out these highs. I'm bullish right now to buy side. I just tried a little eval short for fun. But yeah, basically we were anticipating price to come down, run 50%, tap into all this unbalanced FEGs below, and then we were going to anticipate a reversal around our intended reversal time, which is usually around 9:50 to 10:10 macro, right? And so this morning, when I was looking at the chart, I was paying attention to both NQ and ES, and we start falling off at open here, and we really start to sell. We start to sell, and had I noticed this morning, I might have felt differently about the trade, but I didn't. This line that I've drawn here is London lows, okay? So if we start at 2 a.m., this is where price was the lowest during the London session. And when price came down, we never closed below London low and we just souped it, okay? Had I noticed this soup in live time, other than just the fact that we ran London lows, I probably would have been more bullish because a soup reaction to a major time-based liquidity point is good enough to override the fact that we aren't reversing in a macro time, okay? So when I was sitting here, I didn't notice that. And what I saw was we had the 1 minute, the 2 minute, and the 3 and the 5 minute, okay? And on ES, it looked like ES was coming down with a lot of momentum here on the 15 minute and the 5 minute, whatever. And it looked like ES wanted to run this low here to complete the market maker sell model. And then I thought potentially we'd get an SMT with NQ, and then we'd get a reversal around 10. So when I saw price getting this inverse on the 2 and the 3 minute, I figured, okay, this kind of looks like a long on the sell side of the curve. We didn't get the greatest momentum in the world ever on this inverse. And we were longing into a 5-minute bearish gap while potentially being on the sell side of the curve. So those three things made me avoid taking the 2-minute trade. And then when we got the 5-minute inverse, at that point, I'd flipped bullish, right? But the problem with taking this 5-minute inverse is it was a long in premium of the dealing range, right? And it was the second long setup that had occurred in this price leg, right? And we just talked about, what happens whenever you try and take a long setup or any setup that's like the second setup in a leg, right? Those are usually lower probability. So it was a long in premium that was the second setup when I should have been in off the first. That's targeting not a great draw, right? We're just targeting an internal high inside of a fair value gap. And if you look at our hierarchy of draws cheat sheet, that's like the 6th or 7th best draw on liquidity on the market. So had these been like equal highs here, or a data wick, or unfilled liquidity, or whatever, I would have taken that 5-minute all day, right? Because I'm okay with longing in premium as long as the draw on liquidity is good. But because it wasn't, obviously I skipped the trade. And then for the rest of the morning, after this point, I said in chat, I was like, okay, now I'm flipped bullish. I have no desire for price to come back and run the lows anymore. I'm full on bullish based off this momentum we got from the 943 candle to the 948 candle. And then once I'd flipped bullish, we never got any more long confirmation setups, okay? And we just ran buy side. And then after we ran buy side, we started to consolidate, which I said was probably what was going to happen, because after a big expansion move, we typically consolidate. And I said the next time we would probably get a move would be at the 1050 to 1110 macro. And we started to kind of get that here at 1050, but obviously what can you see about this price leg here? What's the problem with it? If we're in the macro. By the way, I do see that 1 minute forming. It's basically the exact same as the 1 minute that just went break even / lost. So once I'd probably rated another eval setup. Yeah, there's no momentum down here. And the other thing is, which I didn't make clear for you guys until right now, we had this 1 point VI that was a part of the FVG, right? And so if you factor in that VI, we actually never closed below the gap. So no trade triggers there. And then the rest of the macro is here, and there's just no displacement. So this tells me that, like, because price is not accelerating towards any targets during the macro, that probably means we're just going to either continue to have bad accumulating PA, or we're just going to slow grind up or just chop, right? And then there was this setup that, of course, happened after 11:10. And, this is why we say we need to trade from 9 to 11 and not anything else. Because this is what happens. We see good setups that look like they would work, where we've swept out the high, we created this manipulation leg, we have draws and liquidity below, like this unfilled 15-minute gap or whatever, fail, right? Because it's not the kill zone. So the rest of the day is pretty much just slow grind up, and now we're at this point. And what we have, as potential, I guess, markers for like bias are this 5-minute gap here, okay? And then just monitoring the lower time frame to see if price starts to violate bullish PD arrays, right? And monitor to see if we create any draws in liquidity as we slowly grind up here. And then as long as we're continuing to respect bullish PD arrays, specifically this 5-minute gap, I will be bullish to the hourly highs here, these relative equal highs here. And my idea for PM is essentially we'll slow grind up for the next hour until we hit these targets. And then once we hit these targets, I'm hoping that happens around 3 o'clock. And we will see price put in the 2 o'clock candle high. We'll sweep out that high and then target the 2 o'clock candle low. And that retrace, reacting off of the buy side liquidity sweep, will give us our play for the day, right? That V-shaped setup after sweeping the high. So that's kind of my thoughts. That's kind of a recap of price action today. Yeah, I guess I'll go through chat and kind of see your guys' reaction to that. But if anyone is having audio issues, let me know. Because I can just restart the stream and disconnect and rejoin real quick. And that usually fixes it. Potential 30-second down. The LRLR here is just okay, right? We've kind of talked about what good LRLR looks like and what bad does. And this one's good because we have multiple swing points created in exaggerated like trend or price legs, right? That took a lot of time to kind of create here. This was like 10 minutes. This was, whatever. And so anyone that longed in this 10-minute segment here is going to be placing their stop there. Anyone that's long here is going to be placing their stop down here. So we are getting like these liquidity pools, right? But the problem is any shorts we take are just against the bias, because as long as we're respecting this 5-minute gap here, I think the delivery is just bullish, right? So as long as we're trend day delivering bullish, we're probably going to go run buy side. So kind of the idea. Have I missed anything? Not really, Chills. Nope. 30-second FU long? Yeah, exactly, right? So an FU long is just a long that's way too high in premium, or a short that's way too low in discount. That for some reason works because we're in a bullish trend day condition. It's like the market telling you FU. I don't care what you think the market should do. This is what I'm going to do. Do you typically wait for a market structure shift or CISD to take a play? Not necessarily. If we get a good liquidity sweep, we have a good draw on liquidity above or below after that liquidity sweep, then I don't need to see a market structure shift. I'll just take that first inverse, especially if it's during like a macro time. Yep. Yeah, exactly, Sheets. Yep. Or if you see a higher time frame PD array with a V-shaped recovery, IFG, you just take that. Yeah, I'll just take that as long as the draw on liquidity is good. Yep. And as long as it's like an 8+ mechanical model setup too, right? And we have like a good break-even target and all that. Is this considered a power of 3 play? Like if we were to short here, I don't think so, because I think we're just in a bullish trend day scenario, right? So we've been kind of not really doing power of 3 all day. If you look, you can see here price opens with basically a devil's mark candle. I mean, it's got like two ticks, and then we just run. And the same thing here, and same thing here, and same thing here. So because we're not really seeing power of 3 being put in context of the rest of the day, I don't imagine power of 3 plays are probably going to work. Oh, with the 2 o'clock swing? Yes. Yeah, exactly, Wesley. Yep. Yeah, so like if this 2 o'clock candle we're about to put in 2 minutes runs up, runs buy side, and then we see price sweep out the previous hourly high, so that 2 o'clock candle high, then I would be basically basing the short on the daily power of 3, where the daily candle needs to put in its wick, and I would anticipate price to reverse after buy side's been taken so that we get that wick. And also, typically whenever we run higher time frame liquidity and we run into like a bearish for value gap, we'll see a reaction to it. So maybe what we need to see is price run into this daily SIBI. Obviously, that's a lot of points away. That's like 200 points away. So I don't know if that's realistic. But usually anytime we take higher time frame liquidity, we usually will see a bearish reaction. So kind of the idea. What if it retraces a bit? Can we take a long instead? I mean, yeah, you can try and take an FU long here, but I'm never going to call it out because I don't take longs in premium. And if you measure the 15-minute range here, I mean, look at how high in premium we are, right? So the only way that I would probably take a long play here is if maybe we get a retrace to this 5-minute gap and we swoop the low and then V-shape back up. Or ideally, the only way I'd take a long play is if we came back to this 15-minute unfilled gap and got a long setup from there. Anything else is you're just gambling, going along with the trend and assuming that we're going to hit those hourly highs there. So, yeah. I think I'm caught up on everything. Tam, you got a gold set? Oh, that's Euro. Is that China or franc, or what's the other? What's the pair? And then we got pound, yen. Great. Sweet. So yeah, that second play you sent, Tambi, is a little bit questionable because you're longing the first gap in multiple gaps in the leg. So that'll work sometimes, but other times it won't work out. Yeah, for sure, Zebby. Yeah. Trade boy, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? So more like, I mean, I think you're basically just taking like an order block play versus an IVG play, right? You're taking that order block that probably formed on the 2 or 3 minute after we soup the low there. What do you mean, Meek? What do you need clarification on? Oh, yes, yes. What I just said to him. Yeah. So whenever we have multiple fair value gaps in a price leg, longing that first gap or longing before all the gaps in the price leg have been inversed is lower probability than waiting for all the gaps to be inversed. Because there's the chance that price still respects that bearish gap or that bullish gap that hadn't been inversed, and then we reject it or respect it, I should say, whatever. Who took that long? The 30-second FU long? I did. I did. During the macro fire banger. If you missed that, you're a donut. Come on, guys. That was textbook. If the indicator didn't show it, it's bad. True, true. All right, let's see if the bullish trend day continues here, or if we're finally going to see that pullback. We're still in the macro time, so we'll see. All right, we got a 1 minute inverse here. FU long for the 1 minute. Is this a trade? No, this is not a trade. Come on, guys. I'm just watching. I mean, I'm guessing this is just going to slowly grind up till we hit that buy side level, but we don't know when we're going to get like a stop run, so it's just best to chill out and wait for price to do its thing, and then we take the short or whatever, that reaction to taking out buy side. Yeah, we'll see if the FU long part two prints. Should have taken that play this morning at 10. What was the play this morning at 10? You mean the 2 minute slash 3 minute long? It's okay. There will be more setups this week, guys. This isn't even like a good trading week. You know, it's a short week. It's after the holiday. We don't really have any good news this week. Next week we have NFP. We have PMI on a couple of days. I'm pretty sure we have unemployment claims. Like, there's gonna be a lot better setups like coming into the month of June. Whereas this short week that we have at the end of the month probably isn't going to be the greatest, right? Honestly, Shmeevy, less than I should have. I probably should backtest it more before I talk about it on stream or anything like that. So I'm gonna keep working on backtesting it. I mean, I like for this long, you know, at least that we respected this gap here, and we're continuing to disrespect bearish PDRAs. I mean, that confirms bullish delivery still. It's just, I mean, do you really want to hold long in this high up? All right, let's see. 2 seconds. Nope. There's no numbers there. The gift for FOMO is 10 push-ups, 10 jumping jacks, and ask yourself, is this a good setup or just a chase? No reason to rush a trade for quick dopamine rush. Exactly. The people that are more susceptible to that are obviously, like I said at the beginning of the stream, the ones of us that struggle with, you know, mental health. So I'm not trying to all get you addicted to, you know, ADHD medication, but if you're having a lot of behaviors that could be tied to trying to cure or fix a craving for dopamine, maybe you've developed ADHD. No risk, no Rari. All right, man. Tommy Pickles sent us a voice message, and there's well said, Tommy. Well said. Would you take a trade like this right now if it inverses? No, Tambi, no, not this high in premium. I want to wait for price to retrace a little bit to then give us a long setup, right? I've already kind of given my two scenarios for longs here. Either A, we come down, sweep this low inside the 5 minute and get a long from there, or B, we come down and hit the 15-minute gap that we left unfilled down there and get a long from there. Those are the only two ways I would take a long. Would I want that to even happen though? Probably not, because in an ideal situation here, price is just going to continue to slowly grind up until we hit buy side. Um, you know, price wants to go from inefficiency to inefficiency, liquidity point to liquidity point. So right here, price reversing doesn't make any sense because we haven't swept any new liquidity and we haven't tapped into any newly inefficient price action, right? So I think it makes more sense to go up, sweep out liquidity before then getting that reversal. Would you mark out the 50%? Would you do it on the 50? Yeah, I'd probably do it based off the 15-minute. And then we can also look at it based on the 5-minute here too, starting at this swing high to this swing low. And that's why I said, like, I like the idea of maybe seeing a long after we retrace to sweep out this low inside the 5-minute, because maybe there's a chance here that we come down and grab 50% of this 5-minute range. But yeah, I think the best 50% to mark out here is the 15-minute 50%, because we have this obvious unfilled gap right around that level, which would be a good place to see price retrace to, for sure. But yeah, as long as we're still delivering bullish here, there's no reason to look for shorts or expect that that is going to inverse yet. So how do your FEG boxes have the middle marked out? So yeah, whenever you want to adjust a setting on something in TradingView, all you have to do is double click on it, and then for this I have the style selected of the middle line, right? And I have that as this like gray color, and the opacity is 48%, so it's slightly see-through. So like I can see that it's there, but it's not gonna prevent me from seeing anything as far as the trade goes. Um, so yeah. Can we expect to retrace to the 15-minute without taking liquidity? Not necessarily looking for a short, but waiting for a long. I mean, if that were to happen, Ari, that would just be because of bad delivery, which is probably because we're on a no news day and it's just like bad PR or whatever. But honestly, I wouldn't expect that to happen. That would be unexpected for me. As long as we're um, delivering bullish. So that discount cheddar expired. Now it's 30% off a starter plus account. So that expired on Sunday. I tried to send a message about it in the Prop Firm Links channel when it was expiring, but maybe you were busy with the holiday or whatever and you didn't see it. So no shorts today because we are bullish. So we are basically also not looking for shorts to a retracement point today. Maybe, but the only way that I would get bearish is if we started delivering bearish, and the only thing that would confirm bearish delivery for me is this 5-minute gap. I think any of these gaps that we inverse here, like for example this 1 minute I have marked out or whatever, aren't significant gaps that are telling the story of where price wants to go right now, right? They haven't sent price to a higher high. They're really small. They're in low volume trading conditions, so the inefficiency that is the fair value gap itself isn't that important. And so when I see these gaps getting traded through, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm thinking that delivery is switching bearish. I'm just knowing that, like, okay, this is like bad price conditions right now. So if we're seeing bullish PD rates be disrespected, it's probably just because of that, right? What would tell me for certain that delivery is becoming bearish is if we inverse this 5-minute, because it's an obvious gap that sent price higher that is clearly important in the context of the market right now. And so if I were to see this get inversed, that would make me think that the 15-minute is going to get hit down here. And so maybe our trade is the 5-minute inverse here with good momentum or whatever, and we go break even at like some low inside a gap somewhere. But there isn't really any, so I don't really know where you go break even here. I guess this is where you go break even on the 5-minute short here. Maybe you go break even here, but there's no roadblock in the way, so price should just like run through all this. Whenever price isn't forming roadblocks or for value gaps or anything like that, usually that entire range in price, when that gets pushed down into, is just going to get like ran through with a lot of speed, right? Because there's no like inefficient orders that price needs to target here, so price is just going to accelerate towards the next inefficiency. Wholly static, no static for me. Okay, so yeah, let me know if that keeps happening. If that happens, I'll try and fix it again like I did this morning. Was the free reset for the starter plus accounts only? No, it was for I think any account you bought got a free reset with it. Yeah, so I think the reset will just come when you fail the account, and then you go to reset the account. It'll just be there automatically. I don't know. I didn't buy an account this week with that deal. So unless there's something else that I missed, I think that's just how it is, right, guys? Like, did anybody buy an account this week and already reset their account? If come on, man, give me some credit. My bad, Sheets. Yeah, if you were to blow the account, I think it would just you'd be able to reset. You did Swervo? Okay, so when you bought that account and you failed it, it says $0 for perfect. Okay, so yeah, that's what I figured. How much did you risk on the 50K starter? I risked normally $200 on funded, and then it's kind of up to you for eval, whatever kind of trader you are. So looks like we might get this 1 minute inverse here. We did end up respecting that 2 minute gap, so we're still delivering bullish. And yeah, we'll see if this FU long works. Obviously outside of the macro time now. But we haven't really had a proper retracement yet. When would you start looking for longs then? I wouldn't look for longs this session, Tambi. All I'm looking for is for price to reach up to target buy side, and then maybe we get a short setup after buy side gets hit. That's the only thing I'm looking for this session as of right now. the reason why we haven't really gotten a proper retracement yet is because we're just in a bullish trend day scenario. And in bullish trend days, what happens is we just continue to respect bullish beat arrays and disrespect bearish ones. So when we're this high up, I don't know when we're going to get like a retracement or a death candle or chop or whatever. And so until I get a retracement, I'm not going to long, right? Because we're too high in premium. I'm also not going to short here because of how bullish we are. So the two conditions I have laid out for taking a trade are if price comes and hits buy side, then I'll take a short. Or if we get a retracement, run out some liquidity, run into this 5-minute gap, soup the low, and then get a V-shake for a long. That's it. Those are the only two conditions. Anything else, I'm just sitting here watching. What's the buy side liquidity target? I'm looking at 562, whatever this high is on the 1 hour. Yeah, 562.25. How would you make the switch from a 9 to 5 to trading, considering you mostly can't trade at the best times, save up enough money to quit your 9 to 5? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just save up your money to quit a 9 to 5. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. But I think the best thing you can do to figure out if you're a profitable trader or not and to quit your 9 to 5 is trade for 6 months. And within those 6 months, if you are profitable every single month and you're able to cover your monthly expenses and put a little bit of money away, that's the moment when you're considered somebody who can like quit their job and trade on their own, right? 6 months of that consistently. And if something happens where you get a red month, then you have to start the process over. You have to trade another 6 months. And then I would also recommend building a 6-month emergency fund in that time that you're trying to quit your job, right? Just in case something were to happen, right? So you're buying yourself a little bit of time in case, trading doesn't end up working out, and then, you need to go and get your job back or whatever it is, right? So when you have a 6-month emergency fund in place and you've proven yourself profitable for 6 months, meaning you can cover your expenses with a little bit of give or a little bit of leeway, that's when. I feel like that's when you make the switch. If you already have a six-month emergency fund, then cool. You're already on the right path. The idea of having that 6-month emergency fund is to help you with your psychology. So you're not necessarily going all in, right? You have a backup plan. We have FOMC tomorrow, so we might just chop until tomorrow. Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's really the important FOMC, though, right? It's just the... is it meeting minutes, or is it even, like, not even that? Is it just, like... I don't even see that. Oh, yeah, FOMC meeting minutes. Yeah, so that's not very important, to be honest. Where can we find good starter rules? Like, what do you mean, Paige? Like, rules on how to trade? Like, that to help you, like, be more consistent? Or do you mean, like, yeah, trading rules? God, we had the rules calendar thing, and you just had to post your rules in there, and that was, like, a good resource to check to see what other people's rules were. My rules specifically are... Actually, I have a lot, so, like, it's a bit, but I don't take trades unless you're longing in premium, longing in discount or shorting in premium. The only times I will break those rules is if we have a super strong draw on liquidity. I won't trade on a funded against the bias. Okay, so don't trade against the bias. Don't long in discount. Don't short in premium. Wait. Don't long in premium. Don't short in discount. Stop trading when you become emotional. So when you're recognizing that, like, your emotions are overtaking your ability to reason and be logical, that's when you should take a beat, stop trading. And then be done for the session when you're up, on a trade, like when you've taken a win, right? Not necessarily, Alex, because whenever you sweep liquidity, bias becomes like neutral, right? Because you don't know what the bias is going to be after a liquidity sweep happens. It depends on that reaction to the liquidity sweep. This M15 looks like it'll get hit out. Yeah, if we run through this 5 minute for sure. We also created another 15-minute gap below. We're kind of running through this one here. We've inversed this 1 minute to the left here. We have equal lows below, so yeah, maybe we'll see price start to head lower here. Based off this 1 minute inverse. It's not that most obvious gap in the world, but we do have equal lows below that are oftentimes a good draw, especially when they're inside of a fair value gap. So I guess we can monitor those, see if those get hit. And then, yeah, just make sure you're taking A plus trades or A setups on your fundeds. And yeah, that's about it. Those are kind of my rules. I don't know what else. What other things do I talk about in here, guys, that are like, I guess, good rules to have? Trade limit is a big one for sure. So yeah, if I take a loss on a set of accounts I'm trading on, I'm done. If I take a win, I'm done, usually for the session. And then always ask yourself if a donut would take this. If the answer is yes, then don't take it. True. No donut trades. To me, this was A plus subjectively, but still only took on evals. Yeah, for me, as long as we're trading against the bias here, I think any shorts can't be A plus. Even though we kind of pushed through this on the 2 minute. Um, you know, I don't know. I think this 1 minute back up is decent. We're reacting off of the sweep of the equal lows here. We're coming off this 1 minute. This is probably another FU long. We're just too high up in premium to take this, and we didn't meet that condition that I wanted of coming down and sweeping out that low. But yeah, it looks very V-shaped. Yeah, so 90% of the time, Tambi, it's going to be on the 15-minute time frame. But you just want to find the swing points in price where multiple time frames have the low that you're drawing out and the high that you're drawing out as a swing point on that time frame. So if I look at like the 1 hour here, you can see this high and this low are pronounced, right? Obviously on the 4 hour they're not there. So we'll start at the 1 hour and we'll go down. Okay. And then in the pursuit of putting in that 50% level, that I guess, sorry, what can I think? That fib tool, right? We want to try and identify areas in price where it makes sense for price to retrace to, right? So we're never just going to arbitrarily mark out 50% and assume that price is going to go there because it's 50%. We have to retrace after a move, right? The only time it makes sense for price to retrace to 50% is if there's something that's there that needs to be hit. So in this scenario here, it does make sense maybe for a 50% retrace because we have an unfilled 15-minute gap below right around 50%, okay? So this is why I'm basing my 50% draw currently off the 15-minute time frame. Now, if I go to, let's say the 1 minute time frame here, right? And, I was looking at this dealing range here, the swing or whatever, right? Is there anything here at 50% after we've made this leg that price needs to retrace to in order to see shorts work here? Is there anything here that sticks out to you that's like, oh yeah, we need to come back up to here to fill that in? Probably not, right? There's no for value gaps. There's no, equal highs or any internal liquidity that makes sense for price to come back to before seeing price get lower, right? Because the only time price is going to go towards something is if it's an inefficiency or liquidity, because that's where the market wants to target at all times. It wants to target orders. So we're about to get this 1 minute inverse up here. So we'll see if price continues to move up and run its highs again. This looks pretty V-shaped. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind 50% and how to draw those. But yeah, I am interested. How many of you guys think this play is going to win, and how many of you think it's going to fail? This 1 minute long. Or how many of you just think it's going to be a break even trade? Fail. 2. Fail. So win. Break even. Okay. Break even. Win but doesn't follow rules. I mean, mechanically it follows the rule, right? We have delivery here in the 1 minute. We have the liquidity sweep. We have the V shape. We have the singular gap. So mechanically, this is probably an A+ setup. But what's wrong with it? What's the problem with taking this 1 minute inverse? It's very high up, right? So you're just gambling it, basically. You know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's probably because we were just too high up, right? Yeah, we're too high in premium, not the macro. Sure. Isn't that A+ the first 2 minute short? Price delivers into 15-minute SMT at the high, lunch high. Do we have an SMT at the high? Yeah, I don't really care about any SMTs on the way up here if they're like old. If they're like recent SMTs, like that's a different story. But any older SMTs, like that doesn't really matter. We're gonna make SMTs all the way up here because NQ and ES are not at the same price level. We're just kind of uncorrelated right now. So already not a good look for an inverse. You know, good inverses are gonna react pretty instantaneously and just shoot right back up. We're not gonna see these like pullbacks, right? We already filled in the inefficiency. The only thing we left behind here is this 1 minute, but really it's not a 1 minute; it's a 30-second gap, right? And we filled that in already. So, yeah, just a bad look, right? It's low probability trading conditions, right? The Dodgy indicator didn't flag that. I don't know. 13.26.7 trade. Oh, the short. Yeah, that was fine. It's just against the bias, right? That's the problem. This gap that we inverse isn't that important, and it's not the gap that's holding up price. So in this scenario, delivery is still bullish. That's why it's not A+ subjectively. It's like a mechanical A+ setup protector. Oh wait, no. Sorry, we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about two different things here. Sorry, never mind. Disregard that protector. Yeah, I think the SMT at the highs that they're talking about is like something else, like a 2 minute high over here or something. I don't know. I don't see an SMT here. I think you're right. Okay, sounds good, Zebi. I hope you have a good rest of your, I guess, day then. I'll catch you tomorrow for AM. So here's 230. Did we put in anything on the 15 minute? We did inverse the 15 minute to the downside here. I need a drink, man. I am parched. Do I use FP, FEGs at all? I have no idea what those are. First presented fair value gap? Sometimes, I guess. I mean, not intentionally. Most of the time, it's just a coincidence. But I'm not like seeking them out and like marking them out of my chart and being like, oh, look, we've retraced now to the fair value gap that we've already balanced 9 million times, the first presented gap. And so I think we're going to reject. Like, no, like I'm basing everything I think about the market in terms of stop losses and liquidity, right? If I was to do that with the first presented gap, I would be no different than like any other pattern trader that's like using like, I don't know, like head and shoulders to dictate their trades, right? Which like head and shoulders is just market maker model, by the way. Okay, so we're kind of inversing this 30-second to the downside here. Plus we have the 15-minute inverse. So maybe we're due for a short-term retrace here. Maybe we see the opposite happen. Maybe instead of seeing price, what's it called? Instead of seeing price inverse the, I guess IFG, oh, never mind, we respected it. I lied. I thought we were going to inverse it there. 50-minute inverse down, yep. Yeah. Watch the 2016 and watch the 2022 series now. Awesome, yeah. That's about all I would watch. I probably wouldn't touch anything else. Anything recent, especially. So really bad momentum here, even if we do get this 30-second inverse. And then let's check the other time frames real quick. Anything important to note? Not really. I mean, we have this 2-minute gap here, I guess, that's holding price up. So there's the 30-second inverse there. And then obviously this short's against the bias. So like, just something I'm watching, monitoring delivery right now. Obviously the 15-minute inverse. So this is like that first inverse after the 15-minute inverse to the downside. Can we see a 50% retracement this afternoon? Maybe. We'll see. So yeah, this 30-second obviously is going to fail. It's against the bias. I don't know. I'll give it a second, but definitely not a good reaction there. So is PA going to be better tomorrow? Probably, if I had to guess. I mean, anything's better than this, right? Okay, okay, okay. We're going back down, I guess. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the 250 macro time. Maybe that will finally give us what we need to accelerate up. But yeah, right now when we're outside of the macro, price is just stalling, not really giving us what we're looking for. So next anticipated time we would expect to see what kind of this accumulation break is during that macro time. This obviously isn't what you would expect to see out of a sell model here, right? Usually a sell model is going to be kind of an elevator down. This is definitely stair stepping down. So, um, that tells me that we're probably not bearish. This is just like manipulation or price accumulating, right? So I think we're really uncorrelated right now. Price on ES is making higher highs, whereas on NQ we're actually making lower lows. So I'm guessing once price starts to get more correlated here, we'll see a little bit better PA. For sure, protector. If I like my Apex trading view, I don't need to buy real time data, do I? I just need a basic to see more time frames. Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. Well, I guess we can watch this 2 minutes, see if price inverses that. We hit that low. We have an SMT now at this low. Would you consider that LRLR algorithmic? Not really, I don't think. So we've gotten a bit of a retrace now. We might come down, swipe out these lows, and then I don't know. I guess maybe we see a long from here, or maybe we come down and finally take out that 15-minute gap or that 5-minute low or whatever it is, and then see longs work again. Right? We could definitely see previous hourly low to previous hourly high here. H1 gap is the 5-minute low there. Yep, good point. So if we're coming back for this hourly BSC here, that can make sense to see longs from, for sure. We could go previous hourly low to previous hourly high instead. There's that low swept. All right, so we swept all those lows. A little bit of a bullish reaction here. Might put in a 30-second OB here or something. We're coming into that macro time now. We just put another 15-minute candle here. Two-minute. Yeah, we do have a 2-minute. So we'll keep an eye on this. We're coming into that macro time, that 250 time that usually, we see price start to accelerate at. So if we get this 2-minute inverse like in the next 20 seconds, this could be decent. Obviously think the better draw on liquidity here is probably the hourly unfilled gap below, but we'll see. So obviously no 2-minute inverse there. Didn't even close inside the gap. Okay. Wait, this 2-minute might be onto something here. Let's see if this 2-minute inverse happens. Probably not. For those of you asking me if I would take it, I'm probably just gonna watch this here because it didn't meet my criteria for a long, which is to soup that low, hit the 1 hour, and then get a bullish reaction on the higher time frame. And the draw on liquidity up here just like is fine. Like it goes along with the trend day, but I think overall we're gonna probably see a better setup. So no 2-minute inverse there, obviously. There's a 3-minute too. Yeah, good point. We haven't closed over that 3-minute either. So macro time here starts in about a minute. Twenty more seconds till that macro starts. Question for people that trade using Top Step X: when you set trade to break even, it covers your entry anyway to make it so entry is in front of the stop loss. So that makes sense. I don't know. I don't use Top Step X, but maybe somebody else can answer that question. Still no inverse on that 2-minute there. Macro just started. So if the intention of the macro is for us to go down here to run that hourly BISI, then I guess I would expect to start seeing, I don't know, price to be bearish here, but so far, still nothing telling us we're bearish yet, right? We're still holding bullish for value gaps and respecting them. And if we inverse this 2-minute, then obviously we'll be disrespecting a bearish PD right here, so just keep an eye on it. So it looks like we're going to get the 3-minute. Price wants nothing to do with this respecting this bearish gap. So looks like we're probably just going to head back up here. Created equal highs there. Another good side for longs, I guess. Super choppy PA today. Two minutes still has not closed over. Looks like we made a 1-minute protected high. That's a stretch, I'll be honest. Oh, 1-minute protected low. Yes. Yeah, we did. So maybe price needs to come and take out buy side before going lower. Honestly, this protected low doesn't really mean a whole lot to me, though. I think we'll still probably run it without hitting buy side first, if we're targeting that hourly BISI below, obviously. All right, so the 2-minute continues to be respected here. I need a chair with built-in toilet. Any recommendations? Trade from the bathroom and set up monitors on the bathroom wall, maybe, and have a dock station for your laptop. We're in a 1 hour bearish gap, almost closed, but not. Would you expect the algo to try and close the gap or just trade into it? I think right now the algo is going to put in the hourly, the 2 o'clock candle, and we're going to run the low at 3 o'clock and then run the high. So I'm still bullish into the end of the day because I think that these hourly equal highs up here, relative equal highs, or whatever they are a pretty good draw on liquidity. And so I think right now, maybe in the short term, maybe this macro runs the low. Maybe we run down to hit this hourly BISI, and then we just see a bullish reaction to that. But we'll see. Right now, we're not really death candling. Nothing's really telling me that like shorts are like high probability. I'm just assuming that based on what price is doing right now and the strongest draw on liquidity below being that 1 hour BISI, it makes sense potentially to see price come back to that. But nothing really here is like high probability, so I'm still just like commentating basically. What do you say with garbage PA like this? It's not even worth trading. How do you know which setup will be the one this that ends up with the one ends this bad PA? Usually you can anticipate that by waiting for either a liquidity sweep or a macro time. And so like right now, obviously the macro time isn't doing a whole lot, but maybe in a second here, you know, in these last 5 minutes of the 250 macro, we'll see price accelerate towards its intended target. You know, what's going on, the sniper? That's crazy. IDK. I think it's just a lot of IFEG sniper. It doesn't print subjective only A plus setups. It prints a lot of everything. So you just kind of gotta still be in the know to weed out what's good and what's bad. It's more of an indicator that tells you when an IFEG is potentially happening. So if you're not able to like watch the charts 24/7, it can be like an extra tool in your tool belt, if that makes sense. Okay, sounds good, IDK. This dude, man. So you can see here we have this last 1 minute gap here that's still holding price. So I'm guessing once we break that, we'll head to this next low, and then we have this next 1 minute gap. Then once we break that, we'll finally hit the hourly BISI down there. If we continue to have good momentum through these fair value gaps, I anticipate all of them to break, and we'll just run to that hourly BISI still. So we'll see. Got about 15 more points to that target. But yeah. Keeping an eye on ES here as well. No real SMTs that are too important. So hopefully we just continue to see price go down for the next 3 minutes in the macro. But you see what I mean when I said like I wasn't really anticipating this to be a protected low. I'm guessing it would be swept. It's kind of what I mean. So you'll get some sort of alert to be ready. Exactly, Tommy. Yeah, Sniper, but this one alerts Dodgy's model specifically, not just any IFEG indicator. So it takes into account things like V-shaped setups, momentum, that kind of thing. How did I know that? Because these are bad price conditions, and in bad price conditions, we don't respect typical rules of like price. And also, like, this isn't really like an example of a protected low. I feel protected lows are most commonly used at like external points in the range. This is more like an internal point in the range. So we got a minute and a half before the 3 o'clock candle. Somebody rate this PA. -2, 2 out of 10. Okay, okay. Yeah, it's not great. 1 minute here, still holding. I'll mark out this next 1 minute here. I don't know how this gap ended up here. That's better. And then, yeah. 3 o'clock candle here should swipe out the previous hourly low, and then maybe we'll see long setups work out going into the close of the day. All right, well, here's 3 o'clock. There's the previous hourly low, right? Okay, coming into that hourly BISI now potentially. About 5 points away. Ooh, almost hit it. Did ES hit it? Not quite yet. So, just about hit that now. If I had to guess, I'd imagine, we run this low and then probably just come back up here. Maybe we get like a 3 minute for value gap or a 5 minute or something that we can take as an inverse. Yeah, we have this 5 minute, I guess. It's not that obvious, but I think it goes along with liquidity way better than anything we've seen today. So maybe this is an area you could try like 0 days too, anticipating I don't know, that previous hourly high to get hit now. Would final target be the swing high? I think final target would probably be the hourly highs up here at 562.25. Wow, 521 calls are really cheap. Really, really cheap. 520s are probably going to be the safer bet though, because those are already in the money and this is moving pretty slow. And I don't think the premiums are too expensive on these because the IV is really low due to the fact that we've just been chopping around all session. So just got here. Did you guys take any trades? Not yet, man. Not yet. It's been pretty choppy all session. We might get our first long setup here of the day if we tap into the hourly BISI. And we've already swept out the previous hourly low here. So if we start to V-shape, longs definitely aren't the worst idea in the world. Yeah, I think so. IDK. I definitely think we could get to the previous hourly high. I don't know about the hourly highs up here. That's probably too far away given um, how fast price is moving right now. But I think we could definitely get lucky and see price hit that previous hourly high for sure. Seen it happen many a times in that last 30 minutes of trading. So, do we want these equal lows to get hit before longs or even lower? Just the equal lows here, I think, because that's the hourly BISI, right? That's what I have marked out. It's obvious unfilled, higher time frame liquidity. So I'm guessing once that gets balanced, we'll get some sort of bullish reaction from it, and then yeah, maybe we can see previous hourly high get hit. You're off. All right, sniper sounds good. What's a BISI? It's a buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. It's just another way of saying bullish for value gap. We are very uncorrelated. Um, ES is actually already moving up here, so I think we're going to get an SMT at this gap, at this low. Um, wow, we're really uncorrelated. We might not even hit the bullish for value gap here if ES keeps pulling us up like this. That would be crazy. Is there an SMT indicator? Not that I know of. None of the ones that I've ever looked at worked. So wow, this is actually crazy. We're really not going to see that hourly BISI get hit. We like missed it by like a couple points. By like 31.25, 30. We missed it by a point and a quarter. Bro, hit the fucking BISI, man. What are we doing? I'm trying to get these 0-day lottos going. What if it rips without hitting the 1 hour BISI? That'll be so sad. But then again, there's not even really a good inverse for us here. I mean, I guess the 5 minutes the best, but this isn't A plus then because we don't have the liquidity sweep. So we created relative equal lows and we didn't get a liquidity sweep. So technically, it's not an A plus setup. So I won't even feel FOMO about it. Right? Especially like when we're chopping like this. Like this is bad PA. You want to get an A plus setup than bad PA if you're going to take anything. Bro. Bro. Why? Yeah, it's a no trade day, Tommy. ICT says don't trade on days after bank holidays. Tuesdays after bank holidays specifically. Wild PM session? Yeah, dude. It's been wild. I'm on the edge of my seat right now. Yeah, sheets for sure. Dang, even ICT took that long? God, man, I suck. How did ICT take that long and I didn't? Oh, around 8:20 ish? Okay, never mind. I feel better. Oh, yeah, IDK? Nice. Yeah, I love that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if we don't hit that hourly base, that's just because we have really bad price action right now. Indices are uncorrelated. Price isn't respecting its typical rules, right? That we want to go from inefficiency to inefficiency. It's just kind of doing whatever. Um, and then, yeah, obviously, we got 10 seconds till the 5 minute here closes. Doesn't look like we're going to get the inverse on this candle anyway. So we'll have to watch for that next candle. And then if we inverse the 5 minute to the upside, I mean, I imagine we would see price run higher here, but it's not a good inverse in my opinion. For sure, IDK. I don't know. I've been called a donut, idiot, stupid, so many different ways to mock my intelligence by Dodgy that I'm used to it at this point. You know. Yeah, IDK. Everything's got to be so dramatic. Everything's got to be so dramatic all the time. For sure, Yuki. Maybe here. Maybe we get the hourly Bissy tap here, please. This needs to be a soup reaction, or else just forget longs. Longs would be cooked if this wasn't a soup at the low here. Just missed it again. Took out that previous low there. Are we gonna get any for value gaps here? Bruh. No. 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 I'm not gonna lie, I set a limit order on these call options and I already got filled, but we didn't hit the gap, so I don't even know if this is good. I'll cut if we like violate this 5 minute, so I have a really good stop loss honestly on this. This is like a 10 point stop. Like worst case scenario here, I lose like maybe 10% on these options. MNQ hit the 1 hour bullish. Yeah, ES hasn't though, and NQ hasn't. So those are the two that I'm waiting on for the actual confirmation that we hit the hourly gap. We'll get a nice SMT there though, and that should definitely help boost price up. Yeah, if that happens, Trade Boy, forget it. We're not getting anything today, I think. Unless you want to try and short to that lower 15-minute gap. But yeah, I mean, Meek, like, I guess the only trade you could take would be the 5-minute inverse short to the 15-minute BISI. But, like, other than that, there's not really any other good trade for us. And, like, I don't like taking a play off the buy side of the curve ever. So, like, I'm never going to enter this trade. I find it's a lot more profitable for me to take V shapes or confirmation setups on the same side of the curve. Like, that's just what's worked for me and what I found through backtesting. So that's why I'm saying I'm probably not going to alert anything today if that were to happen. But that doesn't mean that there's no trades left, right? Like, you can obviously take the 5-minute if that doesn't break your rule. Dude, like, what are we doing, man? Just hit it. Like, please. We're one tick away. Because the longer that this takes to hit, the longer we're going to stall, the more my options are going to devalue, and the less likely it is that those hit by 3:30. And because I'm trading on Robinhood these options, Robinhood auto closes out your account if you don't have the position size to cover the exercise of those contracts. And so, like, obviously I don't have $75,000 or whatever it would be to cover the cost in my Robinhood right now. And so I probably will just end up taking like a small loss or break even on these. And then when the hourly BISI does get hit, we'll probably end up running the highs anyway. But I got 15 more minutes before that. But again, why options? Because I'm trying to build this account. I got it from $200 all the way up to almost $4,000 now. So my goal is 5K. And honestly, I don't think we're going to get a really textbook IFVG setup here, but I have a lot of conviction that this is probably going to be a soup, and we'll probably go target the previous hourly high. How long? Like a month. Or whenever I said I was starting the options account back up again. I caught a really nice trade the other day. I don't know if you guys saw. I posted it in chat, but I went from like 1,900 to 3K. I full ported it. And I caught like a good chunk of the move during AM. Yeah, just on QQQ, yep. Yeah, let me pull up those, actually those executions again so I can show you guys. I don't remember what day it was. Bruh. Oh, here we go. Found it. There you go. Okay, so there's the gap finally. Now I'm hoping we just V-shape back up here. As far as an inverse for us, the only thing I really see here is the 5-minute. So not really anything obvious on the way back up. We didn't really create any 1 minute or 30-second for value gaps here. So this long trade is probably just going to be whatever, but we do have another SMT, not just at the 1 hour gap itself, but also at this low. So, I mean, I would definitely start to expect like a reversal here. I just, obviously, you know, it's just got to happen. Okay, so not a soup reaction. Not yet, at least. Maybe if we get like a 1 minute order block here. I might just take a small win on these. I might not even hold for the full TP because I don't want to mess around and get knocked out of the position at 330. So if I get a good move here, like probably 25%, 50% maybe, I'll just probably take profit. That'd be fine. I'm not in this with a lot of size anyway, so. Yeah, I'm in a call right now. Well, 3 calls, but yeah. They're just a 520 strike. Just tapped in the 30-minute. Yep, and the hourly. Really good reaction from the hourly there, for sure. So we put in that the 2-minute order block here. It looks good coming off the soup. Obviously, just got to respect that and keep pushing here. Bruh. Alright, well, we're kind of violating it, so that's a bad sign. Like, we shouldn't make a lower low here, I feel. Right? Like, we should just kind of. We've tapped into the gap. We've technically balanced it. Now we should just have a bullish reaction back up here. Got a lot of liquidity still above. So. Yeah, for sure, Shmeevy. Definitely. Imagine we retrace all the way to the 50%. That would be crazy. I don't know if that's going to happen. Would you hit the trending liquidity above? This is fine. It's not like the greatest trendline liquidity because obviously it formed during low volume conditions, but it's fine. I mean, I like the equal highs here. I like how we've like stacked multiple like liquidity pools on the way down, so I feel like they should be hit. Right, starting here, it's pretty algorithmic, right? It sucks that we're continuing to like respect the trend line here, but I think ultimately once this breaks, we'll just rip up and hit previous hourly high here. So good close there, I guess, on the 2-minute candle. That's what we'd want to see out of a order block that's being respected. We don't want the body to violate CE of that, so that was good. What is CE? Consequent encroachment. It's basically 50%. So if you look at this, this is your order block here, right? Body's right here, so CE of that. If price violates CE of the order block, that's usually a sign that the order block's going to fail. And that's really the case for any PD array, not just order blocks. If price violates CE of a fair value gap, most of the time that means it's going to get inversed or fail. Yep, so 50% of the OB body. I don't really care about the wicks, but yeah, that body's important. 45 seconds till this 2-minute closes. Hopefully we close above it, creating a prop block here. That would be cool. I'll let you guys kind of know the status on these call options for those of you that are kind of tailing me on this. This was kind of an alert. Um, they are almost up about 20% here, so, or 25%. So, you think this 5 minute is too small? Um, yeah, it's pretty small. It's not that obvious, but it's the only gap available. And I do like the idea that if we were to inverse this gap, that would be like us starting to run the trend line. So I think if we start to run it, like, if we get the inverse in a minute, like that would be a good sign. Technically, I'm already in the position. Um, I took the soup instead of the IFVG play here, but um, yeah, I guess we'll see if this 5 minute gets inverse too. So the calls are up now, or they were just up 25%. So I did go to break even on those. And now we'll just see if price can get to my intended target before, or as high up as it can get before 3:30 here. Or I'll see if I get break even. The reason why I went to break even here too is because it's a good break even point. It's a high inside of a fair value gap. So if we reject the 5 minute again here, reason why is because obviously we can't close above it. So 5 minutes about to close here in about 3 seconds. Doesn't look like we're going to get the inverse, so I've got to wait another 5 minutes for the next candle here. Do I have Dodge's indicator on your TradingView chart? I do, but like I'm not really that well versed in it, honestly. Like they just put out the documentation for it today, so I'm gonna go through it after I'm done streaming and review it, and hopefully by tomorrow or whenever Thursday I can give you guys kind of an in-depth guide on like the way that I have mine set up. When was your entry? Are you talking about options? I'm talking about options. The entry was just like souping this low here. I'm probably going to get break even on it, honestly. We're just not really moving up quick enough here. And that wasn't really the most bullish reaction to taking that high. But I'm being hopeful still. I still think we can go for previous hourly high here. Is he going to open the AM session for a week to all that purchase indicator to learn to use it correctly? That sounds like a good idea. I'll mention that to him. I don't know yet. He hasn't really mentioned it. He's been busy with vacation. Volume tucked right now? Yeah, it does. This is not really what you want to see out of 3 o'clock power hour volume. Yeah, so most likely going to get stop break even on these just based off this reaction. Well, maybe I'll get lucky. We got 4 more minutes till 3:30 here, and I think that's when I'm going to get my contracts force closed. So it might not even matter anyway. Does any other brokerage do that? Like the force close at 3:30, or is this just a Robinhood thing? Robinhood, Lena. You think Webull does it at 5? Okay. I just learned it myself, Lena. Just doing research online, watching YouTube videos, that kind of thing. I'm currently curating my own strategy based on PM, and it's pretty profitable so far. The idea is basically just taking contracts from on an IFVG or Turtle Soup setup out of either a higher time frame, gap, or whatever, to target the previous hourly high or previous hourly low. Mechanical A plus short? Probably not, since it's a short after sweeping out sell side. Maybe if sell side was still intact here, we still had that hourly BISI as a draw, it'd be better, but I wouldn't say it's mechanically A plus. So we got 3:30 and a minute 20 here. For those of you that are still in the calls, like I haven't been break even yet, so I would still have your stop at break even. But if I get knocked out, like that doesn't mean that you guys should get out too. Just stick through it, and as long as we're pumping up here, you should be good to go. I mean, you got your break even set already, so it's technically a free trade. All right, here's 3:30. So obviously still no 5-minute close above there. So I got break even there on the contracts, so that sucks, but it is what it is. ES 15-minute inverse already. I think we already had the 15-minute inverse on NQ, so that doesn't really change a whole lot for me. But yeah, if you didn't get knocked out break even there for those contracts, I think we still could see like a 350 pump or something. But yeah, if you got knocked out, then that's probably it. Oh well, what a long stream, man. What a long day. Yeah, I don't know where this bearish price action came from on ES. This is pretty crazy. We have another SMT here, except this time it's on ES with this low. What we just put in, and it just got broken. So yeah, based off of how we just didn't get any bullish reaction there, and we're dumping now, I think we're going to see this 5-minute get inversed here. And then after this 5-minute gets inversed, I'm guessing we'll see price come down to this 15-minute gap down here. But yeah, we'll see. Who's taking this 5-minute inverse if we get it? Obviously, the 5-minute will go invalid when we hit this low here. Like I said, I'm going to not be taking it, even though I think it's an okay trade. I just don't like taking longs based off the buy side of the curve. And this is a pretty old fair value gap, so it's not like the most high probability trade you can get here. Yeah, for sure, Tambi. Sorry about the price action, man. I wish we could have gotten you something good. Yeah, no, the momentum there is good. I like it for that. I like the fact that this is the gap that I determined was the gap that either tells us we're bullish or tells us we're bearish, right? It's the bias determiner. The problem with this short is you're shorting into a 1-hour BISI that we haven't broken yet, and you're fading the trend of the day, and you're going for a target that's still pretty far away, but I don't hate it. Like, I could definitely go either way on taking this trade. Like, I think this trade probably has like a, I don't know, 70% break-even rate and like a 50% win rate. Like, I think this break-even 70% of the time without losing, right? And then I think it's 50-50 on whether it'll win or lose. Or win or break-even, I should say, if we get to the break-even point. Dang, at one point those contracts were worth $99, and I got in at 0.78, so I was up 25% there. I should have just taken profit right then. What do you think about the 2 minute long though? I think if we got this long setup, that would be the best long setup for sure. We just got to respect the 5 minute here. If we don't respect this 5 minute, I won't be taking this 2 minute long. We got another minute and a half before that 2 minute candle closes here. Break even for this long would be this high. The first target would probably be the equal highs. Drift, when did you buy the account and did you use my code? So obviously 5 minute here respected. Good sign. Didn't even close below. And we got another minute before this 2 minute candle closes. I will be taking this, by the way. This is a good long. NVIDIA earnings tomorrow? Okay, good to know. Will profit. I would want to hold to previous hourly high here. I think. Maybe given the price conditions, you size down a bit, right? Maybe you risk half size here on this trade instead of a full size position. So if I was gonna take this setup, I'd probably only risk it with 5 micros instead of like 8, or 4 micros instead of 8. Would have been really good if we would have gotten it there on that candle. Obviously not going to happen. We got another 2 minutes until the next 2 minute candle closes. Really unfortunate we didn't get the inverse right then, to be honest. That would have been really nice. Awesome, Frontline. Appreciate it. You bought it last Friday, so like this most recent Friday, right? 5/23, May 23rd. Just want to confirm. Or did you buy it the Friday before that, May 16th? So May 23rd, right? Okay. Yeah, if you used my code on the purchase, I'm not really sure exactly what you're seeing here, but maybe when you go to reset it, try and put in my code again and see if that gives you the $0 reset. Oh yeah, good point. Was this your first account with them? Good point, Tommy. Okay, did you get 50% off with my code? So you got 50% off then. Okay, so yeah, for those accounts, that first account you got, that free reset didn't apply to that account. That would have been amazing if they would have done both, but it's just for the accounts you purchase after that first one. Sorry, that's unlucky, but you basically got the same thing, right? I mean, you either bought a half priced account or you had two chances at an account, so it's like the same thing. Yeah, the wording on the promotion wasn't that clear, so I don't blame you at all for not knowing that, Drift. But yeah, it was only for the any account, like if you were already an existing user, for sure. Yeah, don't full port that first account, Trade Boy. Yeah, would you still take it if we sweep equal highs? Yeah, I think so. As long as, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it would be less than ideal because then we'll probably see the trade get break even. But right now, I mean, the momentum just died. Like the reason why I liked it before was because we were actually seeing momentum, and it just fell off again. So like now, right? You guys always continuously ask me, right? If I'm still gonna take a trade, I'm still gonna do whatever. You have to adapt what you were thinking about in terms of the market to the conditions of the market, and those conditions can change every single candle, okay? So right now, based on this momentum we're getting, I probably wouldn't take the trade, right? Especially if like in one more minute we inverse this 5 minutes to the downside, right? But if we start to see a good momentum candle here before the close of 340 and we close over this wick high here and we close over the gap, then I will be probably still inclined to take the trade, right? Because momentum will have picked up again, right? And I'm assuming that going into the close of the day, going into 350, that momentum is going to continue to carry, right? Because that's usually what happens towards the end of the day. We tend to see volume kind of pick up, and usually when we have good momentum towards a given target, that volume really helps propel price, right? So if I buy one more right now, I'll get the free reset. No, so that sale ended actually last or this last Sunday. So now the current sale is 30% off a starter plus account. So right now it's just full price. It's I think it's like $92, which is still a really good deal because you don't have to pay that obviously that funding activation fee. So if it takes you 2 tries or less to pass an eval, which if you use the eval pass strat, that's always going to be the bare minimum. It's going to be cheaper than like Apex, Top Step, TPT, Tradeify, like every single firm out there where it might take you 2 tries in that firm, it's going to be cheaper. So what is the eval pass strat? It's basically waiting for a major news event like CPI or NFP and hedging your accounts. So buying on one and selling on the other, right? And then just targeting however many points you need in order to pass the account, given the max contracts you can risk on that account. So for like MFFU, that total amount of risk is like, I think it's like 3 minis, right? So before NFP comes out, I'll place a buy order and a sell order on each account, and I'll try and target 50 points to pass the account, right? Because that's $3,000 profit. Right, and so in that scenario, you're going to pass one and you're going to fail one, unless the very unlikely scenario happens where it's a very small candle and you end up hitting your DLL on both accounts, which most of the time we just run up. How do I feel about the 2 minute? I think it's okay still. It's fine. You're going to be longing into a trend line, unfortunately, but I don't think it's really going to matter, right? Like, I feel like we should just go up here and run the equal highs. So definitely up to you. Definitely on your terms. If you want to take this trade this late in the day, I do think we're still bullish here, and we're going to run previous hourly high. So with that in mind, I did just jump in, and we'll see if we can get the break-even target here. I am in this half size, like I said earlier, given the price conditions throughout the rest of the day here, price can be pretty unpredictable, so I don't want to risk a full position here. So because of how high we closed, I'm risking 17 points. So I'm actually only risking 3 micros on this trade because that's $100 risk, and normally I'll risk 200. Right? It would be really nice to see the break-even target get hit here before the 350 macro. That way we don't even have to worry about like the 350 macro stopping us out or anything like that. But yeah, we got the next 15-minute candle close here in about 2 minutes. Paying attention to the 5-minute here. So far, no big deal. Small retrace into the 2-minute there. Got 30 more seconds till that next 15-minute here. Bro, if we leave this trend line liquidity, that would be crazy. There's really no roadblocks in the way here. We should just go up. So here's 345. 2-minute inversed. Yep, yep. Damn, we're gonna have to wait for 350. That sucks. I hate trading through 350. 5-minute CV kind of holding us down. Not crazy big with several taps. Yeah. True, true, true. So we put in an internal high now. I think if we came up and swept that again, I'd go to break even. Regardless of whether or not we hit the 449 level. Just because there's no reason why price shouldn't hit that 449 level after we take this high. Unless, you know, we are just like in bad PA. But we might not even get that lucky. We might stop out here in the next minute and a half. So, wow, what an unlucky trade. In that 3-minute inception gap, good point. I mean, the 2 minutes bigger, so the inception gap here doesn't really matter. But yeah, I guess if the 2-minute here fails, both the 2 and 3-minute will have failed. So that will be important to know for certain that, you know, it's a stop out and we don't have a chance that like the 3-minute gets respected where the 2-minute doesn't or whatever. All right, good candle there, I guess. 2.5 more minutes before the 350 macro starts. 414. What about it? Oh, if we inverse the 3-minute. My stop. Yeah, like the hard stops at the low there. Yeah. So we get another chance at a candle here to finally run price. Doesn't look great. Can't lie. I feel like we should have ran up in that first candle here, so we might just chop for the 350 macro, which would suck. That would suck a lot. But you know what's good? We mitigated our risk going into the trade, knowing that this was definitely a possibility given everything else that had happened this session. And so, worst case scenario, if this ends up being a loss, it's only a 0.5 RR, and we make that back 10 times over throughout the rest of the week. So, not a big deal. Oh, yeah, just the low, the swing low that the IFUG formed on. Yep. Yeah, one more minute here before 350. So what do you have for the 21,410 low marked? Yeah, that was in the event that the 5 minute inverse tiered. If the 5 minute were to inverse, that's just where the break even would be. That's all that low was marked. Yeah, yeah. Yep. 20 more seconds here. We do have a potential reality now where the 2 minute could fail, but the 3 minute inception gap holds. So keep an eye on that. No 2 minute fail, looks like. We got 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's 350. Not really anything to say yet here. Play is still valid, obviously. Never failed, never hit the low there. Well, that's not good. This 250 is, or 350 macro is just chopping right now. 15 more seconds till that next close here. Looks like maybe a fail, maybe not. 10 more seconds. All right, so no loss there yet. Yeah, swing for sure. I am too. If this was a full size position, I would be sweating right now. And not just because it's so hot in my room. Take more Addy for sure. If I wasn't on Adderall, oh, forget it. I'd already have probably panic sold or something on the trade. JK for real. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of up to you if you want to stay in this trade at this point. I mean, you could take like a, I don't know, it'd be like a $50 loss or $30 loss or whatever it is, depending on how you sized. So I'm kind of starting to lose my voice here. I've just been yapping way too much today, and I still haven't had a drink. I haven't gotten up and grabbed one yet. So, um, yeah, it's up to you what you want to do at this point. I mean, this is really bad. It doesn't really look like price wants to go up. Obviously, I'm still in it, but um, yeah, if you like just don't want to deal with the mental capital strain, or you're kind of getting emotional or whatever, you're not forced to stay in this trade at all. You know. So we hit that next high. Hopefully we hit that high above it. So I can feel good about going to break even here. All right, we got the break even. Let's go. Alrighty, we did it. We did it. Yeah, Fahrenheit. I was diagnosed with ADHD like 3 years ago, and I stopped taking Adderall daily because I didn't like the person I became when I was on it, and I just started taking it again because I was noticing way too many symptoms. But yeah, there's TP1. That ran like 2R, so I just took some off there. But yeah, final target is obviously going to be previous hourly high here, so. That's Top Step X for you, IDK. That's unfortunately I've heard that story one too many times about Top Step X. But yeah. Let's go. Winning trade. What a day. The patience pays till it matters. Got 3 more minutes left in the day. If it hits 4 o'clock without hitting the final target, I'll probably just sell everything. But yeah, obviously I'm just hoping this continues to go up here. What are my targets? My only target remaining is previous hourly high. So that would be this high here at 488. Whatever it is. I would just sell at 488. Got 3 more minutes here. What are the QQQ options at now? Let me check. They are sitting at up about 50%. So if you took those QQQ options, you can obviously scale some if you want. What I would do is if I had 3 contracts, like I said, I would scale 2 and then leave the other one as a runner. That way you cover the entirety of your initial position. You don't get shaken up by anything during 350, and you can just let your runner run and hit that final target. Thank you, Marlon. All right, we got 2 more minutes left in the day. You guys obviously know where I stand on where I'm at right now with this play. If it hits 4 o'clock, obviously I'll probably cut it early before we hit the target. I'm hoping these next 2 or 3 minute candles take us to that intended target, and then we can just call it a day. Kind of sucks it's really starting to chop here now, but I'm being hopeful. We got this 2 minute gap we just formed. Hopefully we just IO fed it and used it to blast up. I think what I would do here, if I was in this trade with any runners, is I would monitor to see if this 2 minute gap is going to get tapped into. If we do and we make a higher high out of it, I would set your take profit, or I guess not your take profit, sorry, your stop in profit below that swing low, because price shouldn't come back to that swing low if we're balancing fair value gaps. So like here, we just balance that gap. If 359 here pushes us up, then that's where I would set my stop in profit. There's no reason for price to go lower if we make a higher high out of the gap. Unless, you'll probably get stop break even if that does happen. Honestly, I wouldn't even set it at the low here because the low's kind of, it dug a little bit. I would probably just set it at the gap now. So yeah, here's 4 o'clock. All right, I just cut everything there. So good win there, good win. Solid win. 25-ish points. Risk was 17, so that's about 1.5 R. Just on that 4 o'clock candle close, profitable. But yeah, if you're still in this, final TP is still 488. I mean, we could definitely see that get hit. I'm kind of done with the day. I hit my targets, so I'm good. Yeah, for sure, Steiner. Finally gave us what we were looking for. You guys think that trade was forced? Or was it a good play? I think what made it a good play is the fact that we respected the 5-minute gap to the left there. I started at the beginning of the stream with an idea saying that this gap needed to hold for us to remain bullish. And then obviously, you know, the fact that we generated all this liquidity here, that definitely helped. This was a good V shape. And then, yeah, we just respected that inverse the whole time. So in at 440 there, out at like 465. That's fine by me. You think that was the best setup of PM for sure? Awesome. I'm glad you and I agree on that. Trend friend, I'm guessing with the release of the indicator, that will come out, but that isn't out until I think Friday. So on Friday, all that stuff will come out. But right now, it's like under NDA, so I can't really say anything like more than what I just mentioned. All right, Yuki, you too. Bit of AMD too? Yeah, for sure. Accumulate here, manipulate down, distribute back up. I mean, this to me is a better trade than this morning's. What do you guys think? I think this fits the model better. I think we have a better draw on liquidity here. I think we have that, you know, textbook higher time frame delivery. So, nah, that's reaching. You think the setup this morning was better? Okay, okay. I think I'm gonna respectfully disagree. So you look for price to respect an FEG on the left side of the curve, sell side, but then look for an FEG on the right side of the curve. What do you mean? Yeah. I'm watching to monitor bullish delivery, JIS, and the way that you do that is you basically see if price is respecting bullish PD raise or disrespecting. And then for the inverse itself, right, which is what I'm trying to get as an entry model, I'm taking that inverse on the same side of the curve. Okay? So here, I would never short on this side of the curve based off a gap, but I will short on this side of the curve based off a bullish gap that we form. Does that make sense? 1 hour BPR, 50% retrace, pretty good momentum, clear bullish, bias bullish. That was A+. Not gonna lie. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna post the trade recap for this. And then, yeah. I will catch all of you tomorrow morning for AM stream. Peace out, everyone.